Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. This video is going to be a little bit longer video than usual, my 10 minutes. And the reason being it's because I want to walk you through step by step how to achieve high dynamic range on your The Last of Us Samsung KS1000 series and 9000 series. By the way, 8000 and 9000 series are pretty much the same technology, the same panel. The only difference is the design and the size. Uh, the 8500s are the curved ones and 9500s are the curved ones. It's just the design. That's all it is, just a different shape. Technology, it's exactly the same inside. They're all 2016 versions, all right? So it doesn't matter which version you get, you're still going to get the same technology. You're not going to see any difference. All right, that out of the way. The reason I'm talking about Samsung, because this mainly concerns the Samsung 2016 version, 8000 series and 9000 series. And I don't want to get any credit for this because this is solely something that I gathered the information from today's video on Digital Foundry. So the entire credits go to Digital Foundry. And I will put a link on the video of Digital Foundry so you guys can look at it. Their video, it's 10 minutes. Mine's going to be a little bit longer because I want to walk you step by step, baby steps, in more depth detail about this whole entire process. And by the way, I did take notes. In case some of you are wondering, I did take notes. There they are. My notes are all written down here. They're all there. So there you have it. I have some more in the back right here. I have my little notebook where I write things down. This is just for the reference. So I am taking notes, I am doing research, and I highly encourage everyone to do the same thing. And this is coming from a guy who 3 months ago made major mistakes confusing the upscaling with the ratio and then admitting I made a mistake, so I learned the hard way. But in those 3 months, I have learned more and more about the wide gamut and why is it that wide gamut is so important. There's different types of HDRs out there. You want to make sure you get the best possible HDR, and this is why I recommended this TV. And it's not just me that's recommending the 1000 nits, which is the highest HDR you can get on any TV right now on the market. There's a reason why you're seeing this KS8000 everywhere you look. You're not seeing Sonys that much. You're not seeing LGs that much. There's a reason for it. You guys have to do your research. Don't be like me when I was back in the day, when I was in September, being blind, about confused and just going out there putting some misinformation without even knowing what's going on. There's no reason for you to go on the Google search. All it takes maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes of your time. Research it. Gather the information. If majority say, hey, the red is red, if 300 million says red is red and only 3 people say no, it's not red, who are you going to believe? 300 million people that say red is red, okay? You have to gather information. You have to do your factual facts, put them together, and take notes, man. I'm doing the same thing right now that 1316 Killer is doing. Taking notes, same thing the Hard 8 is doing, taking notes. You have to, because I have 6,000 subscribers. I owe it to my 6,000 subscribers to give them a proper facts. Not my opinion. My opinion doesn't mean diddly shit. Just to give people a facts. A facts that I gathered. If you want to, for example, if you want to become a dentist, you're not going to work based on opinion. You're going to work based on your academics, on the facts. How to reconstruct the surgery on the lower bone of the jaw and how to properly use a forceps to get the teeth out and all this other jargon, right? So you want to do it the right way. There's the correct way of doing it, and there's the wrong way of doing it. All right, so enough of me blabbling 4 minutes about this. I know you guys are going to hate this, but I did say this is going to be a long video. You can skip first 5 minutes. All right, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's do this. Remember, I'm taking this from Digital Foundry. They deserve all the credit. I'll leave the link below of the video. This is more in-depth baby steps version that I'm going to be doing. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I have the same television set as they do. All right, so I got the same exact thing as they do, so that's why I'm doing it. All right, so first thing you want to do, the very first thing you have to do on your HDR KS8000, it's make sure, here's my remote, make sure you go to your settings, click on game mode. That's the first thing you want to do. So you go in a picture, you go in a special viewing mode. There's 3 different types. There's a sports mode, game mode, and HDR plus mode. You want to make sure you click on the game mode. All right, because the game mode gives you about low latency, 22 seconds. I'm sorry, 22 milliseconds. Dave from Digital Foundry said it's about 22 milliseconds. So low latency is going to be 22 milliseconds, which is really fast for a TV. Okay, that's a really good response you're gonna be getting. 22 milliseconds. Okay, and that's the reason you want to use the game mode. Remember that 22 millisecond. Dave from Digital Foundry, he tested this, and yes, you do get 22 milliseconds. They have equipment, they can see everything, they're professionals, and it's 22 milliseconds, which is pretty good. So make sure you turn the game mode on. Okay, there, the game mode, it's on. You can see it right now. And I can tell you right away, I see the improvements because it's 22 milliseconds. Once you turn the game mode on, that's the first step, remember? The first step, write it down, it's game mode. Make sure you go to your game mode. Once you finish that, then you go and make sure, go to picture, go to the expert settings. Next is going to be the expert settings. Make sure that your backlight, it's all the way up to the maximum. Make sure you turn that backlight all the way to the maximum. Okay, once you have done that, third step is going to be to make sure that your UHD color it's on. And this part is very important. If your UHD color it's not on your HDMI inputs, then you won't be able to use high dynamic range. You have to have this on. UHD color is part of the high dynamic range, wide color gamut 10-bit, okay? And you want to make sure that you turn that on. Otherwise, you'll never experience HDR. So you have to make sure that it is turned on. So make sure you write this down. You turn that on. So let's rehash. Okay, the first step is you turn the game mode on. It gives you that 22 milliseconds response time. You turn that on. The second step you want to do, you turn the backlight all the way to the maximum. The dynamic backlight, turn it all the way to the maximum. The third step is your HDMI UHD color on. That's the third step. Make sure you turn that on. All right. Now let's go to the fourth step over here. By the way, I have everything written down. Another thing you want to do is your smart LEDs. You want to make sure that your smart LEDs are set to high. You know, and the reason why is because you get a dynamic backlight light, and that's what you want. This is what Dave said from Digital Foundry, and I agree on that. You do need to turn that high so you can get that best possible depth of dynamic, vibrant light that wide color gamut HDR produces. Okay, we already covered that. So the fourth step is make sure you turn your smart LEDs high. That's what you have to do. Now another fourth thing that's important. No, this was the fourth thing. I'm sorry. LED was the fourth step, high. So let's go rehash this again, really quick. All right, make sure you turn on picture mode. All right. And then turn on the game mode. What I mean by picture, you go to picture settings and make sure that your picture mode it's on game mode. That's the number one step. So first step is the game mode because it gives you that 22 milliseconds, okay? Once you have that turned on, then you go back to backlight. Backlight has to be all the way to the maximum, which I'm going to show you right here. Backlight has to be all the way to the maximum, okay? And number 3 is your smart LED backlights. Make sure that the smart LED backlights are turned all the way to high. And the 4th thing, which is the really important thing, is make sure that your UHD color is turned on all of your HDMI inputs on your hub. You want to make sure that it's turned on. As a matter of fact, that's the first thing you should check. You should check that your HDMI UHD color is turned on. All 4 HDMIs has to have this on. Otherwise, you're not gonna get that advantage of actually your wide gamut 10-bit wide gamut. It's not gonna recognize. It's not gonna work. You have to turn that on. Simple as that. Okay, so once you have that, the last thing you want to do is your color space. Let's go to the color space. Dynamic contrast, you turn this off. You want this off totally. You don't need dynamic contrast. You turn that off. You don't need that. The color space, you want to turn it on automatic. Turn that on automatic. There you have it. And that's pretty much it. Now, another thing you can do, and this is what I would do on the expert settings, I would make sure the sharpness is all the way down, because Dave said on Digital Foundry, make sure you turn this all the way down. You want that sharpness all the way down. There you go. Color, you can leave it at 50. There. Brightness 45. All of these filters, you can turn them off. You know, digital clean view off, motion plus off. The reason you want to turn all of these off, because you already got that game mode, which is 22 milliseconds. If I was to turn all of these other filters on, guess what? I would lose that 22 milliseconds. It would be 48 milliseconds. So remember, you want to make sure you have that best fluidity on your game. So you want to turn all these filters off. Smart LED, you turn it high. Dynamic contrast, you turn that off. You don't need that. Color tone, you can leave it at warm 2 if you want to. I would leave it at warm 2. It seems to work really good for me in a warm 2. So I would leave it at that. White balance, you leave it the same. Gamma, I wouldn't mess with that. Color space is automatic. So these are pretty much all of the steps that you need to do to achieve the HDR. Now, one more thing you want to make sure. You want to make sure you go to your options right here. Go to the options. Go to a display. And you want to make sure this is turned on. See, if I turn that off, it's not going to show up. See, now it's off. So you want to make sure you turn that on. So you go back to the options right here. And you turn that on. You wait a little while. And it'll show up. It takes a little while to process it, but it'll show up. There it is. You see, it says HDR video it's playing. Now you got full HDR experience. And you also got a really good response here. You got a really good response, which is 22 milliseconds. That's another thing you're getting. Now, this level right here, there's not too much going on, so I'm not really getting that much of HDR effect. But if I get close to the sunlight here, you see, then I can see it on his face, like right here. You see it right there on his face? And even right here, if you look at his backpack, and you look at the this rotten truck, you see the overshadowing from the trees, the light. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can. There you go, right here. I think this is where it should be good, right here. High dynamic range should be like right next to that. See how that sun is visible next to that tree? See how that tree is coming out? Let me focus a little bit. You see how that sun's coming out of the tree? That's what you want. That's the ideal high dynamic range. That's the depth of field that you want. And it looks great. Everything's more natural feel to it. Everything has a natural feel to it, and you got a great response time. So let's go rehash this. Let's go back and let's go through it one more time. So the most important thing you want to do first is you want to go to your here, let me walk you through it one more time. You want to make sure that your picture mode it's on game mode because it gives you that 22 milliseconds. The second thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you go to the expert settings and make sure that your backlight it's at 20 maximum. Contrast, you can leave it at 100. They left it at 100, so you can leave it there. Sharpness, I leave it 0. They left it at 0 as well. When I say they, I'm talking about Digital Foundry. The third thing you want to do is you want to make sure that UHD color it's on. This is very important. This is the most important part right here. I would say before you do anything. What the hell is this? Hold on. What's going on, YouTube gamers? Bonfire here. Anyway, something just weird happened. My computer turned on by itself, man, and it would start playing YouTube videos. Some music intro started. I mean, it's weird. I never seen this happen. It's almost like somebody. I think I have a ghost, man. Like freaking somebody just turned on my freaking YouTube video on my computer, and I'm not kidding. There it is. Like I'll show you with my camera. Look, it turned on by itself. Some PlayStation 4 Pro video. Anyway, let's get back to what we were doing here. So let's go and recap this again. I don't know. Do I believe in ghosts? Do I believe in all that nonsense? I don't know. What do I know? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Anyway, let's go and recap this one more time. So the first thing you want to do, as I mentioned earlier, you want to go ahead and go to your settings and make sure that your picture mode, it's on game mode. That's very important. I cannot emphasize that you make sure that you're running this on a game mode because it gives you that 22 milliseconds, all right? Second thing, which I think is the most important thing, is your UHD color. So you want to go on a picture, go to the expert settings, make sure that your UHD color, it's on. If your UHD color is not on all your HDMI inputs, then you won't be able to experience high dynamic range. Now the third thing you want to do, let's go back. The third thing you want to do is make sure that your backlight, it's all the way set to the maximum. All right? Brightness 45, that's fine. Contrast 100, that's fine. Color 50. Sharpness, turn that all the way down to the 0. Tint, you leave that alone. You don't mess around with that. All of these filters, Motion Plus, Digital Clean View, all of these filters, turn them off. You don't need that because if you do turn them on, you're going to lose that 22 milliseconds. And you don't want to lose that 22 milliseconds, okay? I learned that yesterday the hard way. So once you have your UHD color turned on all your HDMI inputs, you make sure you go to Smart LEDs and turn that all the way to the maximum. Because you want to take the advantage of that backlight dynamic light and that LED produce. Once you've done that, then you go and make sure you turn the dynamic contrasts off. Now, as far as the color tone, I used warm 2. You guys can use standard if you want. I use warm 2 because it just works better. To me, standard looks more like cool and cold, bluish, washed out. Everything's so bluish. Warm 2 gives me that more natural feel to it, so I go with the warm 2. Gamma, you leave it at 0. You don't want to mess around with that. Color space, you keep it at automatic. Because remember, you already have that HDR turned on, so you really don't need to mess around with the color space, okay? Unless you're doing something that doesn't support HDR, and then, you know, you want to adjust it or whatever. But I would leave this automatic. Don't mess around with this. And even Dave from Digital Foundry says, leave this on automatic. So that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, dynamic contrast. You want that off. You turn that off, man. You don't need that on at all. Because you already got that dynamic light. You already got that HDR. This, if you turn this on, first of all, you're going to lose that 22 milliseconds. And it's going to be overkill. You're going to overwash all your freaking blacks, deep blacks, and brightness. So you don't want to mess around. You want to leave that off. You turn that off totally. But also keep in mind, the settings I'm showing you right here, these settings are only for The Last of Us. You know? If you, you could try and use the same mode for your other games. I'm going to use the same recipe for other HDR games. I have to see what other HDR games supports out there. I don't know on top of my head. I think Final Fantasy 15, I'm going to try the same mode with Final Fantasy 15 tomorrow. Because I think you guys leave a comment down below. Probably Sean Lee, he's my right-hand man. He will leave me a comment. He will do research for me, which I appreciate. He will let me know if Final Fantasy is HDR capable. So if you're watching this, Sean Lee, big shout out to Sean Lee. You let me know. I would appreciate that very much if Final Fantasy 15 supports HDR. Which I'm pretty sure I will know by now. I'll do my research. I'll type it in. But if you can do it for me, if you know, you can just type it in. Let me know. Yeah, hey man, HDR is capable on the, it supports Final Fantasy 15. Alright, so there you have it, guys. And again, I want to give a credit to Digital Foundry. This is their video that they did in the morning. They're from UK. They're pretty cool. And they really, they test everything. They have the equipment. They have the knowledge. They're professionals. They know what they're doing. And I highly recommend everyone to go ahead and do their own research. You don't have to listen to me, honestly. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to write notes, write things down, and which I already did. I have my book that I write everything down. This is just for the reference right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. This is just for the reference. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there it is. See, I write down everything, all my notes. These are the reference notes. I have a big book right here, big notebook that I write everything down so I can remember. But this is just for the reference for the video, so I can read it off. So it's very important that you take down the notes, write things down, do your research. And like I said, this is not me. I'm giving credit to where it's due. The credit goes to Digital Foundry. They're the ones that discover how to do this properly, how to take the advantage of your Samsung KS8000 and KS9000 series to get the best possible picture quality from HDR. And the name of the guy that was doing this, it's Dave. I'll put the video down below. You'll see it on the link. As soon as I upload my video on my YouTube page, you will see it down there on the link below. And you can click on it and you can watch their 10 minutes. Oh, well, since we're still here and I got a little bit extra minute, let's go ahead and let's walk through this game a little bit since we got these settings adjusted. Remember, I'm doing a little bit more in depth here. I'm doing a little bit more in detail here. And clearly I can see, you guys cannot see it. Let me make this clear. You guys can't see the HDR You'll just have to take my word for it. It looks great. What Digital Foundry just did for me, big thanks, because it's really The Last of Us now really looks good, man. This really looks the way it should look on HDR, and that's the whole idea, guys. That's what you want. All right, can we jump across? All right, see if I can jump here. Can I? Oh, you idiot. All right, let's grab this. So I'll have to bring this.
Pass it to me.
Here, take it.
It's a bit heavy.
I think I can hold it.
Damn, she's strong. Look, she's like a Wonder Woman the way she pulls that out. All right, so I gotta go back. Since I have fallen like an idiot.
There we go.
All right, let me go and.
Get your ass up here. Let's move.
Bossy, man.
It looks great. I mean, you truly get the benefit of the high dynamic range. Especially right here with the light. I mean, I don't know if you... Obviously, you guys cannot see any of this because, you know, you guys don't have... YouTube doesn't support high dynamic range. And you would have to have a capable TV that supports high dynamic range and then capable YouTube that supports that. From my knowledge, YouTube doesn't support HDR. Some people say, oh, they do. I said, no. They do support 4K, but they don't support HDR, as far as to my knowledge. And here, look here. This is where HDR truly shines, like right here. This is the benefit of HDR, right here. Again, you guys cannot see it, but believe me when I tell you, I see it. And you'll just have to take my word for it. It looks great. Look at his hair, man. Like the detail on his hair, and then sunlight overshadowing the his hair. It looks wonderful.
Make sure there ain't any soldiers around.
And right here, this is where you truly benefit of high dynamic range and dynamic light. So you remember, guys, you want to make sure that you have that picture mode on, set to game mode. You have to make sure that you're running this on a game mode to get that 22 milliseconds. And then you want to make sure you have your backlight turned all the way to the maximum. And then also the third part, which I think is the most important part, is you want to make sure that you have your UHD color set on all of your HDMI inputs, on your HDMI input hubs. And fourth, you want to make sure that your smart LED backlight is turned high. And then fifth, you want to make sure you go to your color space and turn it on automatic. All the other filters you can turn off. Dynamic contrast, you turn that off. All the other filters, turn that off. The only filter you're gonna use on it's LED backlight, smart LED backlight high. And of course your color space is gonna be automatic. And this is the end results, man. This is what you're getting. Especially right here, you see how everything looks natural. You see how the sunlight overshadows that building. Remember, guys, the whole idea is to have... The reason why I'm doing this and the reason why I'm putting the research now, because I feel obligated now, since I have 6,000 subscribers, I feel obligated to give people the factual information. Information that's based on research and facts. You know, and I think all of these other big YouTubers should do that and give the factual information instead of just doing the clickbait videos to make money. I know there's a lot of YouTubers that are just doing it for the clickbait money, just to get that money. But I think they're also doing a disservice by spreading the misinformation to these kids. You know, there's a bunch of kids out there and teenagers. They don't know, man. They have no idea what the wide color gamut means. They wouldn't know what it means if you slap them on the face, okay? They don't even know what the word gamut means. Okay, you have to research the word gamut. And why it's called wide. And why is it being spanned across? What does the nits mean? What is the 1,000 nits? All these things, man, you have to go dig deep and research it in detail. I didn't know about it either, but I learned, okay, well, what does the nit mean? Let me go research. What does the gamut means? Let me go research. And why is the 1,000 nits? How do they measure dynamic range? How do they measure the wide gamut? And why do they call it wide gamut? Is it because it spreads across the entire screen? Oh, I mean, you have to go do these things. You have to research, man. And that's what I've been doing now. Because if I didn't research this, if I just went in there like a half-assed, then I'm just doing a clickbait. I'm just doing a clickbait and I'm misinforming 6,000 people. And then shame on me, man. All right? The whole idea is for me to help you guys. Okay, what is the ideal of why do we play video games? Why are we even interested in 4K and HDR? Because we want to make sure that we get the best out of our TVs, out of our consoles. We want to make sure that we have the best possible experience. Isn't that the whole idea? For you to have the best possible experience, to enjoy it? Life is short as it is, right? You want to make sure you enjoy your life to its fullest. So that's why I'm doing this.
Shut it.
And here, this is truly where high dynamic range kicks in. Look at this dynamic light. You guys cannot see it. I know you can't see it, but I can see it and take my word for it. Looks fantastic. And I'm only sitting like not even 3 feet. Here's my hand. I'm 3 feet away from my TV, maybe 2.5 feet from my TV, and it looks fantastic. Look at that dynamic light, man. That's just ridiculous. And that, my friend, is why you have to tweak this up. You know. This is why you want to take the best advantage of that high dynamic range. And look at this game. This game, it's what? How many years old? 2000, what was it? 2011? 12? Well, I don't know. 13? Okay, let's say 3 years old. This game is 3.5 years old. Maybe even more. I don't know exact date. Let's just say 3.5 years old, this game. And look, and it was originally released on PlayStation 3. And look what high dynamic range has done for a remastered PlayStation 3 game. On PlayStation 4 Pro. So there you have it.
We'll need it.
Let's grab that gun. Let's pick it up. And that's why I decided to record this in 720p, because I wanted to kind of do this more in depth. I wanted to do this more in a longer...
The coast is clear? No soldiers, no Robert's men, yeah?
Like I said, I wanted to do this video longer because I feel that... let me save the game. I feel that I should do this in more detail and depth, and not just show you step by step what you need to do to accomplish this picture, but also to show you the benefit of it. Even though it's 720p and you guys cannot see it, but you can see a little bit of it, like here with the flashlight. That's what I was trying to point out to you. That's the benefit you do get properly tweaking your high dynamic range. You know, unfortunately, it would have been nice if Samsung had this thing done automatically. From what I heard, they're going to do this firmware update where it automatically is going to, on the game mode, is going to support this automatically, which means you won't have to tweak anything. But until they release the firmware update, this is the only way you can achieve that.
You know what he's expecting.
Well, that'll make it more interesting. There you go.
Hey, Tess, hey, Tess. Hey, pretty lady, how you doing today?
Not right now, Terrence.
No, it's good. Look.
Not now. You hear me?
Okay. You know that?
And especially right here, I see the smoke, like the detail of the light here popping out, courtesy of the high dynamic range.
Some of them waste my time. I'm not interested in bargaining for bullets.
And then especially here, looking at the smoke popping out, it just,
We're starving.
it looks amazing.
Bag's coming right up.
Again, you guys cannot see this obviously, but you'll just have to take my word for it. It looks fantastic. Even the reflection right here on the building, I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm gonna point out a finger right here. You see that reflection right there of the building on that puddle of water? Even there, I see the benefit of this high dynamic range. By the way, if you guys hear some noise in the background, that's my niece.
You touch it, you buy it.
I'm not touching anything, don't worry.
In a while. You don't visit us anymore.
Or they're fighting.
Where do you think you were going?
Malik, sit back down.
Oh, sorry, Tess. Didn't realize you two were together. Go ahead.
And then even right here, look, with this lamp, with this lantern, you see the reflection of this character. And then Joseph right here, Joe, you see his the reflection on his hair and his face. That's the beauty of the dynamic, high dynamic range. But then again, for you to appreciate this quality of high dynamic range, you do have to follow those steps that I just told you about. You know. So let's recap this one more time. I want to show you this one more time. I know it's been about 40 minutes now. This video is getting very long. Let's do this one more time. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, you go to the settings, you go to picture mode, make sure it's on a game mode, so that way you can take the advantage of 22 milliseconds, which is really fast response time. Then you go to the expert settings, okay? You make sure your backlight, it's all the way to the maximum, 20, all right? Sharpness, you leave it at 0. Just leave that at 0. Color at 50, contrast is 50, brightness, contrast is 100. Brightness is 45. Then you make sure all of these filters are off. All of them are off, except the smart LED. You turn the smart LED high. You want to make sure that dynamic LED backlight is high. And then the most important thing that I believe is the most important thing is your HDMI UHD color. It needs to be turned on so you can take the advantage of that. HDR. If you don't turn this HDMI color on, UHD color on, then your high dynamic range won't detect it, that wide color gamut. You have to turn this on all of your inputs, okay? All right? And once you have done that, you can go ahead if you want to and turn the color tone to warm 2. I leave it at warm 2 because it just gives me that more natural feel to it. So I always leave it at warm 2. Dynamic contrast, you turn that off. HDMI black level, you turn that low. I turned it low, but you can turn it off if you want to. But I leave it low. But well, actually, you cannot even use this. You cannot even use this level, so you don't even worry about it. But I have it set at low anyway. Dynamic contrast off. Color tone, I leave it at warm 2. Color space, which is the last thing you have to do with the color space, you keep it on automatic. And that's it, fellas. And that's how you get this picture quality. Remember, this entire segment goes toward the Digital Foundry. I give this credit to them. I'll credit them on my video on the titles, and I'll also leave the link below to their website and to their video, so you guys can check it out and see it for yourself. Their video is 10 minutes. It's in a basic 10 minutes. Mine, it's more in depth, so that way you guys can see how it's done step by step in more detail. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this 40 minutes. Remember, I did take notes. There's my notes right here. I took them, and they're right here. I don't know if you guys can see them, but there they are. I've written everything down, just so you know. I'll turn the light on, because I know, God, someone's going to complain and say, I can't see it. Well, these are my notes. These are just some notes that I took as a reference. I do have my notebook that I write everything down. This is just a reference for me to read off when I'm doing the video, so that way if I forget something, I can look at it and give you the factual information. So I write everything down. Okay? So there you have it. Hopefully you guys appreciate this video. If you didn't appreciate it, if you think it's a shitty video, you can hit the dislike. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter to me, honestly. I still get paid. But if you feel the need to hit a dislike, you can hit it. I cannot stop you, but just remember, I still get paid. And there you have it, guys. Hopefully you like it, and hopefully this helps you. All right? My name is Mr. 4K Upscaler, and I'll see you in the next video. I'll probably see you on Final Fantasy 15 tomorrow. We'll use the same exact game mode that I just did. We'll use the exact same recipe, and we'll see how Final Fantasy 15 looks on it. I hope that it supports HDR. I don't know for a fact, but we'll find out tomorrow if it supports HDR or not. Big shout out to Sean Lee, and big shout out to Digital Foundry. All right, guys, have a good one. Take care. Love you all. Be good. Enjoy your holidays. Bye. I said bye. Why are you still here? Oh, you want to hit the dislike first? Okay, no problem. Hit the dislike and then bye. All right. 10 dislikes? Good. 20 dislikes? Okay, all right. I'm out of here. Later.